charger. I haven't got the electricity hooked up to the maple syrup shed yet. I think I pulled the fuses in the house. We'll go in and see. I think I brought the keys. I'm gonna test tap these two maples here. They run pretty early. There's a nice one there too. Hillside is full of maples. We've been tapping this wood since about 1963 when Dad bought the land up here. Some chips of wood. My wife Margot and I got married in '72, and we built this in the summer of 1975 when Margot was pregnant with Scott. This last year we had a brand new roof put on it, all metal with a rubber on the membrane on the top, so it should last for 50 years if the rest of it lasts. Okay, so last fall when I quit using this, I took the two, it's an old fuse box thing, took the two fuse blocks out, and so it shut the juice off, so I gotta stick those in. I got them in, you can hear the refrigerator starting up, lights work. So that should mean that my shed is connected. I haven't been up here for several months, and I have to empty the mouse traps every once in a while. I don't see any mouse traps. That's not a good sign. Go out on the porch. Sunny. There's the lake, Ore Lake. Over there is more maple trees. Sometimes I tap those too. Kind of a unused a loft up there for sleeping. Needs a little spring cleaning, vacuuming it out, getting the stove ready. But I'll set some more mouse traps. Well, I got the electricity turned on, so let's go see if it still goes all the way under the ground out to the garage and then overhead to the sap shed. These are pipelines up in there. That hillside here is for maple syrup. A lot of deer tracks running through here. They must have figured out a trail coming out through the gate. Have electricity in here. had it put in I think 1976 or 7 when we built it, or right after we built it. I had to come down the hill a quarter mile into the cabin. It cost me $1,000 when that was about a fourth of my, I made about, let's see, about $8,000 a year as a teacher. So $1,000 is quite a bit. Got some wood piled up on hand. Of course, this year's sap season. Now, the Ford is what I used to haul sap, and it sat here since last fall, along with the Farmall B. So now I got to turn the charger on. It's running. Let's see. Well, it's Tuesday, February 9th, 2026. It's 31 degrees out, but the whole week is supposed to be about 40. So I always put out a couple of early test taps to see if the tap is going to start running early. A rabbit I just chased out from under here. A lot of rabbit pellets here too. Alright, I need a bit. Aimed up too high, I see. I guess it has a wide angle. So I got my battery drill, which actually is quite nice compared to the old days when we used a bit brace. I'm going to use these white old style for the first two. I use smaller holes and smaller taps for the majority of them, but the first one's out here by the road. I want to put in the regular old type pails. Now when you do this, you got to find where you've tapped before, like here. You got to stay a couple inches away from it, above and below, and a couple of sideways. So the trick is trying to find the spot on these trees that I've tapped endless amounts of time. Then you want to get so you have white the wood that drills out should be white. If it's brown, it's a sign that you are in some poor wood. A little bit of an uphill. I have a tape on there, go in not quite 2 inches. When I tap a little later or a warmer day, then the sap will drip out. But today it's a little too cold, but I'm just putting them out as a test. tapping it. I'll put on my traditional looking bucket. With the Grim lead. And then I'll put one more on this tree on the south side, because that's the most likely place to run early. I've used so many holes on this one. I've had so many buckets on this since 1963. I put on used to put on 4 on each of these. Now I put on about 2 on each. I'll go low today. Let's see if that works. Nice and white. A 10-quart galvanized pail. I didn't bring an extra lid. Last year we tapped pretty much the beginning of March, and our sap ran in March. The year before I test tapped these at the end of January, and the sap ran in February. It was done by the end of February, which is extremely rare. And then most years we tap the middle of March, and our sap comes in, almost all of it, in April. Okay, so those are done. I'm leaving the charger on the Ford over here. After they sit all winter, they don't have too much life in the battery. I did charge it up before I left it about November. I had to come up and do some work in the I don't think I brought, the tire looks a little bit low. I don't have any starting fluid here. Normally to start it up I give it a spray of starting fluid, but I'm going to leave the charger on it. It'll shut itself down. I'll leave it on for till tonight. I'll show you the sap shed. We built this not quite 20 years ago, maybe 20 years ago. It's made out of old doors that are falling apart. It's all full of tanks and everything right now. Oop. There's the pan upside down. Underneath it is a cattle watering tank. And then pretty much just a fireplace. We don't finish it in here. We just boil it down. My chimney. It looks like not too much to do to get it ready. We own about 80 acres left of what was 100. I sold, actually, this piece here is 38 acres and bordered by the lake, and I sold it to my son Scott. I own, I think, 40 acres across to the south, which is in a CRP Prairie Butterfly program, and then I sold 10 acres that used to have buildings on it to my nephew, who actually taps back in here too. So we both tap in this woods. Okay, so we better check and see if there are any drips coming. Not anything yet. But then, it's not even above freezing, so I'll take my toboggan and go back with the supplies. I guess I'll take the tripod down.